Roger Stone, Republican strategist, opposition researcher, author of Stone's Rules, out just recently, 2018. It's hilarious. He joins us now, and of course, Roger's been on the Ingram Angle so many times. Fantastic guest. Roger, I know that you have so much to say about this big tech, what looks like a monopoly on speech, because they're so big and powerful now. It's not just like you can say, oh, there's a lot of other YouTubes to go to, or there's a lot of other Facebooks or Apples. Not when you're a $1 trillion market cap company. They're just they have an outsized influence. And does that mean then they should be treated differently than just any run-of-the-mill company?
You know, Laura, I'm afraid to say, and it actually hurts for me to say this as a longtime conservative, it's time to treat them the way we treat the public utilities, to treat them to regulation, because they do have a monopoly on the marketplace in terms of social media. And we saw a stunning example in the last 48 hours where Alex Jones and InfoWars were banned on Facebook, Instagram, iTunes, Periscope, YouTube, Apple, and Spotify in one day. You don't have to agree with Alex Jones on everything. In fact, you don't have to agree with him on anything to believe that he has a First Amendment right to express his views. And I'm convinced that he is the test case. In other words, I'm convinced that this is just one beachhead in a broader campaign to censor and limit the views of conservatives through the manipulation of algorithms, through shadow banning, and a dozen other insidious computer tricks that are too complicated for me to explain. I experienced this over a year ago when I was unilaterally banned for life on Twitter under their vague rules, but they never would tell me what it was I was banned for.
Yeah, you're never going to get an answer. Yeah, you're not going to get an answer. And a lot of people just never get answers. They banned that campaign ad of that Elizabeth Heng in California. She's a very compelling conservative. Michelle Heng, excuse me. Her campaign ad was banned from Facebook because it had historical images of the Cambodian genocide. She was trying to tell her family's story. And it's just all a little too cute by half. I mean, the idea that, everybody gets banned for these types of things. Why is someone like a Farrakhan still up there? Why does Rosie O'Donnell still have her YouTube channel with all of her conspiracy theories?
Keith Olbermann, why is he able to constantly advocate the violent assassination of our president, yet he's still on Twitter? And then going back to that bite you played, we send this to the experts, we send this to the censors to see if it's right or not. Well, I broadcast a week ago that John Brennan, the former CIA director, was a member of the Communist Party and voted for the Communist Party candidate for president in 1976. Snopes immediately declared that false, except for I produced the clipping in New York Magazine where he admitted to both. Snopes is a fat guy with Coke bottle glasses who is completely biased, has nothing to do with the truth, just interested in blocking conservative thought.
It's like that PolitiFact outfit. That's almost always
funded by
skewed.
Soros, funded by George Soros. In Florida, it is, for example, consistently incorrect. So Matt Caldwell, for example, state representative in our state of Florida, running for state agriculture commissioner, good guy, does a TV commercial lauding his NRA endorsement, takes a shotgun, shoots it into the sky. Banned on YouTube. Inappropriate content. Really unbelievable.
Well, again, Margaret Thatcher always warned about big business. She preferred small businesses, closer to the people, more accountable to the customers. That really is that's the backbone. It has been the backbone of America. And I know that sounds kind of liberal to say that, shop small and all that, but it's a problem. And it's a problem when it comes to providing platforms that dwarf every other platform for free speech. And this is what this guy Henry Blodgett from this website called Business Insider, he's a big liberal. This is what he said recently about this censorship claim that I'm making and others. Let's listen.
I think actually what's surprising is taking the platforms this long to actually put their foot down and say, you know what, this is not about freedom of speech. This is a private platform. We do not want this stuff on our network. They have already drawn the line with many other things, pornography, child pornography, selling drugs, and so forth. Now they're just saying, you know what, this isn't okay either. And that is a very defensible position for a private platform. Anybody who says it's a freedom of speech issue, no, it isn't.
Your reaction to that?
Mr. Blodgett doesn't know his derriere from his elbow. This has nothing to do with free speech. He's right. We should ban criminal speech, advocate, prostitution, selling drugs. Those things should be banned, child pornography, and so on. But the issue here is an antitrust issue. It's a monopoly issue. When I signed with Twitter, when I paid them for paid promotion of my tweets, we entered into a contract. They're in violation. I said when I was banned by Twitter that I would sue them, and I will sue them, but I waited for several other lawsuits to first be filed so I could see how those would go, and they weeded out his argument, we're a private company, we can do whatever we want. But you signed a contract with me, and you're in violation of contract, and that's a winning argument. I think the key here, Laura, is for the small band of House Republicans who've had the courage to pick apart the entire dossier fraud by the Democrats and Obama, the same band of Republicans who have been defending Donald Trump against the bogus Russian collusion delusion, have figured out this issue. The president should direct his Assistant Attorney General for Antitrust to halt the monopolistic practices of Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, et al. They are manipulating the platform in violation of their contracts, and I do think they can be brought to heel.
Oh, you know what the left will say? Oh, this is more authoritarianism by Donald Trump. He wants to squelch private businesses and free. I mean, you know what they'll say, but I mean, who cares? But I think you're right. They want to do this right before the presidential election, before this midterm election cycle, because it can't be that Trump just won on his own merit. It has to be that the Russians did it, or that there was fake stuff, bots online that convinced these rubes in Middle America to vote for this guy. They can't process it any other way.
No, that's exactly right. 2016 was the first year in which the mainstream monopoly lost their stranglehold on American political discourse. It's only through a robust and vibrant alternative media developed on the Internet that Trump was able to win. Now they want to put the toothpaste back in the tube. It's particularly important to me because, in all honesty, I need the format, the forum of InfoWars, of Fox and other places to conduct my defense in the fact that Robert Mueller has got a target on my back, and despite the fact that he can find no Russian collusion, no WikiLeaks collaboration, no nonsense with John Podesta, I am under the gun in a full-force federal investigation poking into my personal finances, my personal life, my business life, my political life. I need a forum to defend myself. That's one of the main reasons why I think InfoWars is being banned, and this ban will go further. If it's Alex Jones today, Laura, it will be you and Sean
I agree.
and Tucker Carlson and all these other patriots that I admire next.
I did my whole angle on this last night. I mean, this is not about one person. This is about freedom and our ability to access information from the people, sources, sites that we trust. I mean, other people might not trust them or like them, but we do.
No, you're exactly right. So I'm convinced that Alex Jones, who is, let's face it, very controversial and very colorful, is a test case. And if they are successful in strangling his First Amendment rights, is Rush Limbaugh next, or Mike Savage, or any of the other patriots that I admire?
Well, they tried the fairness doctrine. Remember, they tried to bring that back. It was abolished back in 1987 under Reagan on the FCC then. Congress tried to revive it, and then there was a sense in the beginning of the Obama administration that they were going to try to bring it back again, and that went nowhere. But if they could, they would. I mean, they tried Air America, and that flopped. So now they're onto the Internet, which they think is even more powerful than talk radio. I think they gave up on the talk radio thing for now, but on the Internet, I think they have willing partners in these high-tech CEOs, Roger.
Well, look, Laura, I admire you for having the courage to bring up this issue because at this point some conservative voices are silent. And they need to wake up and realize that this tidal wave is headed their way. This is not just an assault on Alex Jones. It's an overall insidious campaign to limit the reach of conservatives. I've been living with it for a year. It's not possible for me to have 180,000 Facebook followers at the Stone Cold Truth Facebook page and have 6 reposts, 3 comments.
Oh no, they're
they're
limiting
not fooling
your reach.
anybody.
They do that. Yeah, that Jack Dorsey said that yesterday when he said, "Look, we're not banning Alex Jones because he hasn't violated our rules. The Twitter rules are relatively speaking, better than the other companies' rules." But he said, "But we will continue where necessary to limit the reach of some of these controversial posts." So that's what he said in a statement. I don't know what that means, but I guess that's happening to people like you.
No, I think it's exactly right. Look, the Republicans, in all honesty, will have no shot to retain the Congress in 2018. The president will have no prospect of re-election if they are allowed to close down our access to social media. It's that simple, and that's what this is really about. And I think they want to silence our voices in the event that they try to impeach our president, which I still believe is very much on the left's agenda.
And I think at the same time, Roger, is so sad. It's sad and infuriating. Sergey Brin, who's the president of Google, his family emigrated from the Soviet Union in 1979. Soviets gave his father, as a famous mathematician, a permission to come to the United States. So he comes as a little boy from the Soviet Union, and his parents come here for freedom. His father's a professor at University of Maryland, mathematics. His mother works for NASA. Really smart. And now he goes over there to China, another communist country, and agrees to participate in their censorship with limitations on search engines. So all these dissidents can't get information under the Google platform there, all for money. So Sergey Brin and Larry Page, I hope you're happy with yourselves because now you're just facilitating the rise of China and the great new censorship in that regime. It's unbelievable.
We've seen the exact same thing in the case of Apple, where Apple has essentially sold their soul to the Chinese. The Chinese now hold the key through business arrangements to all of our data, including much of our national security data. It's chilling that some Americans are willing to sell their soul for a mess of pottage in a traitorous act to their country.
Yeah, to sell their country out.
Those who had experienced communism and the harshness of it would recognize that this is indeed a First Amendment issue. This is a free speech issue.
Now, of course, I'm thinking of the Christians suffering under Xi and what's happened to them over these last few years. There's a great piece out that I posted online about how since the Beijing Olympics and their great show of, this is the new China, it's gotten worse and worse, more repressive. Roger Stone, it's always so great to talk to you. Thanks for your words of wisdom on what big tech is doing, the big new corporate censorship. Roger Stone here on your Healthy Radio Addiction.